Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right into a totally fascinating and honestly unprecedented political landscape, the 2028 race for the White House. This is a moment that is already completely reshaping the strategies of both major political parties, and it's absolutely setting the stage for what could be the most dynamic election cycle in modern American history.
So, what actually happens when the presidency is entirely up for grabs? For the first time in a long while, both major parties are gearing up for a completely wide-open, highly competitive race. Usually, an incumbent president creates a clear center of gravity for at least one side of the aisle. But looking ahead to 2028, that vacuum at the top is creating a massive scramble for influence, ideas, and leadership on both sides.
And the reason for this is pretty straightforward. Look, despite all the political noise out there, and even with some allies proposing constitutional amendments, Donald Trump is constitutionally barred from a third term under the 22nd Amendment. That strict two-term limit is literally the starting gun for this truly open race. Here is our agenda for today. 1. A rare open field. 2. The Democratic scramble. 3. Blue policy visions. 4. The Republican heavyweights. 5. The new right economy. And 6. The road to 2028.
Section 1. A rare open field.
The lead-up to this open field is already fraught with a lot of tension. On the right, you have factions floating unconstitutional third-term ideas. Meanwhile, on the left, figures like California's Gavin Newsom are openly expressing anxiety over election integrity and even fears of suspended midterms. It really paints a highly charged backdrop as we look toward the 2028 race.
Section 2. The Democratic Scramble.
Political strategists are quite frankly bracing for sheer chaos. Because there's no undisputed frontrunner right now, insiders are warning this primary could easily balloon to over 20 candidates. They're saying it's going to make the crowded 2020 race look totally tame by comparison.
We are talking about a massive roster here. It includes national figures with major executive experience like former Vice President Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg, who's really leaning into pragmatic generational governance. Then you have regional powerhouses, governors like Gavin Newsom, Josh Shapiro, J.B. Pritzker, and Andy Beshear, plus senators like Mark Kelly and Jon Ossoff, and of course, progressive champions like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They are all quietly building their digital networks, launching book tours, and courting major donors.
But here's the catch. The days of simply shaking hands in diners in Iowa? Yeah, those are pretty much over. Welcome to the 2027 influencer primary. Before they even face a single voter, candidates have to nail a 30-second TikTok, command a 1-hour town hall, and perfectly navigate these grueling 3-hour unscripted podcasts. Digital creators are really the new gatekeepers to the grassroots.
Section 3. Blue policy visions.
So if the Democrats emerge victorious, what is the actual vision they want to deliver to the country? It essentially anchors on massive public investments. Think about the Department of Transportation's push for modernized infrastructure, right? The goal is to guarantee middle-class stability, create domestic union jobs, and ensure resources reach all communities equitably.
This vision also pairs clean energy leadership with expanded social opportunity. For example, look at states like California driving zero-emission vehicle sales up to over 19%. That's the blueprint. It means accelerating renewable tech, lowering healthcare costs, expanding middle-class tax credits, and crucially, protecting civil liberties and reinforcing traditional global alliances.
Section 4. The Republican heavyweights. All right, moving over to the GOP side. The Republican field features huge national figures carrying forward the current administration's priorities. You've got Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who really emphasizes extensive foreign policy experience and institutional stability. Then you have highly successful state executives like Florida's Ron DeSantis touting his administrative reforms. Plus, you can't count out other notable heavyweights like Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Rand Paul, Nikki Haley, and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Now, J.D. Vance holds a uniquely powerful position here. While running a presidential campaign is obviously grueling for anyone, the opportunity for a sitting vice president to step into an open primary is historically rare. It provides this massive institutional advantage that any challenger is going to find incredibly difficult to overcome.
Section 5. The new right economy.
So, what's their platform? Well, thinkers and lawmakers are actively reshaping conservative policy from within. Championed by figures like Vance and Rubio, this new right movement is pivoting away from traditional free market austerity. Instead, it fully embraces economic nationalism, using tariffs to protect domestic industries, reducing regulatory burdens, and really focusing on working-class empowerment.
Advocates of this Republican vision aim to drive national renewal through market efficiency and strong national sovereignty. That means expanding domestic energy production, making tax relief permanent, and protecting domestic supply chains from foreign dependence. Paired with a robust national defense and strict border enforcement, a huge core tenet here is ripping power away from federal agencies and handing decision-making over commerce and education back to local and state governments.
Section 6. The Road to 2028.
Ultimately, this all comes down to a clash of two drastically different roadmaps for the nation. The Republican vision centers heavily on national sovereignty, protecting domestic industry, and local empowerment. On the flip side, the Democratic vision is anchored in utilizing public investment to drive social equity, clean energy, and global alliances.
So, when does this massive political machinery actually kick into high gear? Well, as of mid-2026, everyone is laser-focused on the upcoming midterm elections. But the dam is going to break immediately after that. By early 2027, expect a flood of official presidential announcements, which will launch us rapidly into the first primary caucuses and debates by early 2028.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. With a completely open field and two parties moving in boldly different ideological directions, the true deciding factor isn't just going to be who has the best podcast appearance or TikTok skills. It will be which of these comprehensive, very distinct positive visions best answers the anxieties and the aspirations of the American voter. Which vision do you think will resonate most in a post-2024 America? Thanks for joining me today, and definitely keep your eyes on the road ahead.